700 days ago, my wife and I escaped the rat race and moved to our 50+ acre off-grid property with our newborn baby. With so many people overlooking and choosing not to buy this property, it was easy to see why no one wanted to buy it. With half a decade of neglect, it was certainly going to be back-breaking work, which is entirely why this is the property that we wanted. This once bustling alpaca farm had been a well-kept paradise of fences and livestock, but after they moved out and it was used as a weekender, it led to this property being so overgrown and hard to manage. It was entirely the reason why so many people looked at it and walked away. With crumbling and decaying outbuildings and dense, thick bush, it was the opportunity of a lifetime that we just couldn't pass on. And in just 700 days, we'd taken this neglected, overgrown farm and turned it into this piece of Australian paradise. If you were one of the people who really didn't enjoy our first one-year time lapse of what happens on Hayes Homestead, then I am pleased to announce that all of your feedback was taken on board and it has helped me as a content creator improve and learn new skills to ensure that my content is more enjoyable to watch. So if you're one of those people who didn't like it and you left me a comment saying so, I really appreciate your feedback, because it actually really helped me address some of those issues and grow as a content creator and learn a lot more skills on not only filming but editing as well, to ensure that the content I create is enjoyable to watch. Now, this isn't just a time lapse of everything that we've done on our homestead over the last 2 years, because this episode also includes a full property tour. So we're going to show you exactly how our land is laid out, what's here, what's been done, what's still left to do, and more importantly, what our long-term goals are here on our homestead, which is something that a lot of you ask me quite frequently, is a tour of what our land looks like and how it's all laid out. So I've listened to what you've said and it's coming for you. If you've watched our first year time lapse and you already know what happened in the first 12 months, I'm going to do an abridged version because we actually didn't start filming right away. We started making content about 6 months after we moved here, and so some of the projects weren't filmed in the same format, and so I'm going to try and bring you up to speed as quick as possible so you sort of understand what happened over the last 12 months of us being here, because a lot has happened over the last 12 months. And if you didn't watch it, well, then you're really going to like this bit, because this shows what we got up to our first year at the homestead, and then we're going to move into the next 12 months, and then after that I'm going to do the whole property tour so you guys get to see what's here, how our land is laid out, and what it looks like. So let's jump straight in and start at the very beginning. Let's go.
Reason why we just can't. I wish I could stop time.
After years of house hunting and IVF, there's nothing quite like the impending arrival of your firstborn child to hurry things along a little bit. We moved in here exactly 2 weeks before Indy was born, and so naturally the Friday in between we decided great idea is to get married. So within 14 days we had moved house, got married, and then exactly 1 week after we got married, Indy was born. And anyone who knows that nesting feeling, we got straight on to some of the more urgent jobs. We got whole house water filters fitted, we replaced one of the pumps, and both of the boilers were pretty knackered, so we replaced those two. And of course, with the Australian summer being quite a hot time of year, we had to get AC installed, so we were really quite busy. But nothing really completes that nesting feeling like doing the nursery. So naturally, we just got straight on with it, and I made Indy the most beautiful nursery that she's never slept in. But then there were other important nesting jobs to do, and I mean that, pun intended. We really needed to sort out a coop for the ducks and the chickens to be in, because the old coop that was here was, I mean, very overgrown and pretty run down. So I got straight to work demolishing the old one, slashing everything down and getting a new coop built, which was no easy feat. But in about 2 weeks, I managed to level the block and throw up what can only be described by some as a palatial chicken shed. Which is really a sign of things to come, because I try to build things with a very intended purpose, but I like to do things once and once only. So I want to make sure that whatever it is that I build, no matter what it is, it's going to stand the test of time, also stand against the crazy elements that we get battered with on our homestead.
I've been away for far too long, but now I'm on my way back home. I hear the west winds calling out my name. They telling me to head your way, down your road and past your gates. Keep your eyes on the horizon. I was looking to belong and I'd already found my home.
With somewhere for the chickens to live, it was time to move on to other, more exciting projects. Given my background as a chef, one of the big jobs that we really wanted to approach very quickly was our kitchen area, because there really wasn't a lot of bench space. The pantry was very, what's the word? There really wasn't a lot of bench space, and the pantry was very claustrophobic, let's say. And I've always dreamed of having a butler's pantry. So without delay, I got to ripping out the old kitchen and throwing in the new one. And because I have a passion for projects like this, I try to do as much of it from scratch as I could. But you'll have to agree, the results are completely worth it, because I am in love with my kitchen. With an abundance of bench space and with the fridge tucked away in the pantry, it means that the space is open and airy and an absolute pleasure to use. So definitely one of the most challenging but rewarding projects that we've done on our homestead in that first year. Now, it was around this time that we actually started filming stuff and making YouTube videos. So the way that things were documented was a lot more comprehensive. And one of these first jobs was to pull out the manky, dilapidated fences that just sprawled across our property. And with a lot of them broken or already having been cut through, it really was beyond saving. To try and patch and repair it would have just left more holes and more work to be done down the track. So I just decided, The best thing to do was to pull it all out and start again and lay out my fences just how I wanted them and how we plan to use our homestead through the future. It was around that time that the temperature really started to drop quite severely, and we noticed that our log burner not only chewed through wood very, very quickly, it didn't really heat the house sufficiently. So there was only really one thing to do, and that was replace the log burner by myself. It was tricky. But I managed it by myself, and I have to say this was probably one of the best upgrades we did, because once winter time hits, we light that fire and it burns 24/7 for a few months straight, and the whole house is toasty warm, and I mean warm throughout, and it goes through a lot less firewood than the smaller one did. So this was a great upgrade. Amidst all the cool and very wet weather that we've been having through that winter, it was quite important that we sorted out some of our access issues, namely the driveway area, and an area where it was quite overgrown, but it was also very soft. So it meant that delivery vehicles really struggled to get in, as well as us trying to get in and park the car. It was time for another massive project. So we got onto the driveway and laid out a huge laydown area to make access very easy for trucks, for us, for the trailer, all sorts of other things to ensure much easier access for any of the projects that we had coming up, and any materials that needed to be delivered on a big truck, meaning the trucks didn't get bogged or didn't get stuck on our property. So that's the first 12 months all caught up. So let's get into what we got done in the last 12 months. One of the first things that I got onto was something I had been dying to do since I had arrived here. But because of all the wet weather that we'd been having, I couldn't get a tractor, ute or anything through the back half of the block because it was just so boggy. So now that it had all dried up, it was time to slash the lot. With the block looking a lot tidier, it was time to get onto another renovation project, and the wife had requested that we have somewhere where we could work because we work from home. So that meant turning one of the spare bedrooms in the second cottage into a home office. And from the feedback that I got, I understand it's not everyone's taste, but it's definitely something that we enjoy. And I decided we would go all out and get something a little bit cool, a little bit dark and mysterious, somewhere really comfortable to work in. But that renovation project had problems of its own, and it meant that we had to tear everything off the walls and start from the very beginning, because none of that cottage is insulated at all. So we stripped it all back and we just went nuts.
Got the feeling in your bones, make you feel right at home. Honey, does it well, keep me dancing till I'm dead. 'Cause I could run a mile like this, head over heels since I'm bliss. The sun has got me on my track, I ain't never looking back. I ain't looking back. I ain't looking back. I ain't looking back. I ain't looking back. Inside the depths of stone, voice will echo me no phone. Ruled by the laws above, nature shows me, makes me taught. I could climb this mountain now, rise above the clouds and see. Well, oh, the falls have kept me strong, never did I mean no wrong. 'Cause I ain't looking back. I ain't looking back. Ain't looking back. Ain't looking back. Ain't looking, yeah. Ain't looking back. Ain't looking, ooh. Ain't looking back.
While I wait for the floor to dry and cure, it was time to get on with the furniture.
break my heart and leave me hurt. The next one just gonna do me worse. So if they all no good, I'll just be bad with you. Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, cause you
with the office complete and the impending arrival of our livestock, they weren't going to be contained very well without some proper decent fences. So it was time to get on to another mega project, which was to start re-fencing off some of these paddocks, which is of course something that's ongoing, but we really came down to the wire on that one, and we actually managed to just get enough of an area fenced off for our very cute and very fluffy arrivals. But I've got to say, the hard work was worth it, because man, these guys are adorable.
Whisper softly that I might see you again. Hold me down and watch the water rise. Pull me out and bring me back into this light. 'Cause I'm ready for a forest fire. Forest fire.
Watch me sway, darkness falls, and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river. Oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh. Taught me how to live, Daddy taught me how to give. Both of them had their own sins.
You can't eat the camera. So with somewhere for the cows to roam around without escaping, which they did do a couple of times, there was one particular project I had really been dying to do since we got here, and that was to create somewhere where we could grow our own produce, somewhere that was fenced in to stop things like wallabies and kangaroos and all sorts of things getting in there and eating our stuff. So Project Veggie Garden was about to commence. Well, like with any veggie garden, you need veggie beds. So first job, get some beds done. To protect these beds, I really needed some nice high fencing to keep the kangaroos out because they jump over a lot of fences. So the fences needed to be high enough that they weren't going to jump in, and everything else I can just protect with other sort of means. But getting it all fenced in is definitely one of the jobs on the list. Well, I guess now, moment of truth. Will it close? It does not. As part of this mega project, I knew I needed to build a couple more structures to house certain bits of infrastructure that was going to help us stay organized, especially with that whole area being like a central hub for our homestead. There is something that I really needed to rebuild, which was our firewood storage, because our current storage just does not hold enough wood for us for the whole of winter. So no one said it had to look cheap and nasty. I really put a bit of effort into this. You've got to admit, it does look pretty cool. I have all these panels left over from my old chicken coop. When I built my new one, dismantled my old coop, I sort of had them lying around, and I've been trying to think where I might be able to use them. And actually, this is probably the perfect project for it, because they're well ventilated. They're going to keep my firewood dry, which is not what happens with my current setup. So I think this is probably the perfect project to use them on. Recycling, which is great because I hate wasting stuff, and it also will make building this thing a lot quicker. So let's get this out and start screwing it together. Well, with somewhere to start stocking in more firewood, there is another structure that I really wanted to get done as part of that centralized hub area, is something that I'm going to mainly use through the winter, and that's a greenhouse, multi-functional potting shed area, somewhere for me to be able to extend the seasons, grow things through the colder months. And because it all ties in with the whole fencing area and where all the veggie beds and everything goes, it was important that I got that structure done so I could continue on with the fencing. So it was time to put in a really nice potting shed.
The lightning shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets. The storm is like a brother, it knows me like no other. So let it rumble, let it roll, 'cause it's all I know. You can keep your calm and easy, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the tree, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down.
With my family over to stay, it was great to have Des help me for a week because even just the company was worth it.
For running, the darkness is my compass, and I will follow where it goes, 'cause it's all I know.
Put some screws in before it thinks.
You can keep your sunshine story, but that peaceful life ain't for me. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like it can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, it's like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. Sirens ring and run for shelter. I will chase that storm forever. The harshest gales call out from the trees, like they can sense the reckless in me. And when the clouds roll in, feels like I'm home again. Don't need your safe and sound. Let the rain come down. Let the rain come down. So let the rain come down. Let the rain come down.
Now, this project is something that is still ongoing, so it's something that we are still adding to and still building at the moment. And with it being the height of summer, it's a good thing for us to be able to finish off closing that in. So when winter rolls around, we can start using the potting shed to grow veg, and we can really make a lot more ground on clearing and making that area a lot more secure. So if you subscribe to the channel and follow along week by week, you will get to watch us continue with this progress, because if there's anything you've probably learned from this video is I really try to make sure a structure is functional and structurally sound to ensure that it really does last. I like to do things once and properly. So following along with our journey will ensure that you get to continue to watch all of this stuff grow and develop and the homestead really start to transform. But with you all caught up with where we're up to with projects, I did say there was going to be a tour. So let me show you around, because this place is very diverse, it's quite large, it's very long, and there is a lot to see. So let's go. Well, like any good property tour, the best place to start is at the beginning, and here we are at the boundary closest to the road. With our property being quite narrow but very long, it means that our road facing boundary is only a few hundred meters wide. And when we moved in here, this whole area was very dense with eucalyptus saplings that had sprouted up with all the rain and the wet weather that we'd had both through the winter and through the summer. And the task to manage that was, of course, back-breaking work. This is also where we started putting in all of our timber fencing after we pulled out the rotten wire fencing that was here to begin with. And this is the type of fencing that we will continue to install throughout the property, and this is where we started. This is the fence that we use to enclose our cattle that we have on the property, to eat the grass and manage the growth around the farm. So let's go and explore what else is up at this part of the block. Something I have touched on in other videos previously is our living situation. We always wanted something that had either a twin dwelling situation or a house large enough that we could divide to ensure that both our family and Danny's parents had somewhere separate to live, so we weren't under each other's feet. And as luck would have it, we found this absolute gem where there are two small cottages side by side, where we live in one and Danny's parents live in the other when they come and stay. We always planned that this would be the living situation, as it is quite common in Vietnamese family, which is Danny's background, for parents to go and live with one of the child once they retire to ensure that someone is there to take care of them, but they also very much enjoy spending time with their grandkids. And as luck would have it, we found this absolute gem, almost like it was waiting for us to come and take care of it and breathe new life into the property. We do have grand plans for the renovation of the two cottages, and we have had plans already drawn up. And so we are hoping that these plans will start to unfold quite imminently once we manage to get all the relevant approvals and reports done. We're hoping that this is definitely a journey that you will get to follow along with as we transform these two quite old cottages into something both grand and stunning to look at, as is quite fitting on a beautiful country farm. Well, with that, let's move on to the other buildings that are in this area of the property. Close to the cottages is where our chicken shed slash veggie garden, everything, and our outbuildings are located, as well as quite a large amount of our water storage. And on that note, we have just over 100,000 litres of tank storage on the property. Some of it we have expanded since being here, but most of it being here already. Although unfortunately, one of the tanks does not collect rainwater anymore due to the roof that it collects it from is currently falling in and decaying, which is one of the buildings that I was talking about previously, where the buildings are crumbling. One of those buildings being this old shearing shed behind me. Now the roof is all caved in and there are wombat holes in the floor, and this is one of the projects where we will need to completely demolish it, clear the ground and start again. Another main structure that was here when we moved in is this enormous barn, which is where we keep our machinery, but also where we store certain things like the hay, the straw for the chickens and ducks bedding. But when we moved in here, a lot of these outbuildings were already full of the previous owner's stuff, which is one of the reasons why we managed to get such a good price, is because they didn't actually clear out all of the rubbish. They left it, leaving us to clear it out. And that was one of the ways that I managed to negotiate the price lower, which really helped save us a lot of money because we were willing to put in the work to remove a lot of this rubbish. Although one thing that wasn't here when we moved in was the blue tractor you can see behind me, and it was something that we budgeted for when we moved into the property, and I have covered this in another video, so if you want to go and check out my video about equipment and machinery, I explain exactly why we bought it and the things that we got with it. But this building is a great place to store this machinery, and we're quite lucky that we have it. Well, the building you can see behind me is the workshop, and that was here when we moved in also. And this is where I keep woodworking set up, like my benches and saws and stuff, for when we embark on certain renovation projects. But this too was completely full of things when we moved in here, and we have done a lot of clearing out and taken trailer loads of stuff to the tip. We do try and reuse and recycle as much as we can, but to be honest, a fair amount of this was just rubbish and junk and things that had just been accumulated over time. I'm happy to say it's looking a lot clearer now, although not perfect and still requires a fair bit of work. We've certainly made a massive dent in it. So with the dwellings and the outbuildings covered, it's time to see what else is on our block, because this area here is only such a small part of what's actually on our farm. So let's go and check out the rest of it, because it's pretty cool. Here we are in the middle of my block, and this bit is very centralized and is in fact also the lowest point on my property. Our block being quite long, it is also a big V-shaped block, and everything runs down into this area, which would make sense as to why the dams are down here. There is also a natural sequence of leaking dams that follows through this middle part of the block from other properties, and it flows on to the next one and to the next one, ensuring that everyone's dams fill up in big rain events. Now, this area of the property also has issues of its own. When we receive really large volumes of rain, this area becomes flooded very quickly. Not only does it get really flooded in those events, but it also becomes impassable for nearly every vehicle due to how soft the ground gets, resulting in really boggy ground, which I just can't get through in the ute or the tractor without actually getting stuck. Meaning the only means of transport that I can use to get into the back half of the block after these events have happened is our ATV, which was a gift from my wife and her family for my 40th birthday. And let me tell you, it has been an absolute lifesaver for me on many occasions to be able to get to the back part of the block whenever I've needed to after these events. So as you can see, there are two dams very close together with a bit of a causeway that goes between them, but you'll have to agree that the view up here on the dam wall is just spectacular, and it is something that we can see from our living room window, which can be quite a therapeutic view when you're looking out the window after doing a lot of clearing work. It gives you this sense of pride of just how much work has been done here on the homestead to combat the overgrown bush and turn it back into such a beautiful space. But these two dams aren't the only two dams on the property, and I will take you over to the third. So let's move on to the next part of the block. Well, here we are in the furthest paddock, the last paddock away from the house, and past this last paddock is just forest and bushland, and then after that is just national park. So we really are quite remote. But in this last paddock is our last dam, and this dam also gets filled from the onflow from the leaking of the other dams before it. So this dam does fill up, but because it's quite wide and quite large, it does tend to evaporate quite quickly like the others. Well, with this being the very last paddock, paddocks being what they are nice expanse pastures, and they're definitely a favourite place for the kangaroos to hang out. It's time to move on to the last part of our property tour, which is the wooded area, which is in fact quite a large portion of our property. So let's jump on the quad and head in. Well, here we are at the very end point of our property, and it is in fact a kilometre from the front to the very back. This is the furthest point away from our house, and after here it's nothing but national parkland, so it is so remote and so quiet. It is also home to an abundance of native wildlife, and on occasion you can spot even rare and endangered birds, such birds like the lyrebird, the glossy cockatoo, and as we see quite often, we have a nesting pair of wedge-tailed eagles that live just off the back part of our block. And if you don't know what a wedge-tailed eagle is, it is in fact the largest bird of prey on the planet, with a wingspan of up to 3 meters. So when you see them in the sky, it is unmistakable. They're like planes, like gliders, just soaring through the sky. They are absolutely enormous, but also so breathtaking to see. But at this very end point of the block, you can see that there is this massive steep gully that heads right down into the corner. So when it rains, this is obviously a torrent of water, but it is also a very cool place to just come and sit and be quiet and enjoy all the sounds that are here, because quite honestly, some days just coming up here and spending 10-15 minutes in the peace and quiet can be just the reset that we need. It is also where I come and walk Tala very frequently, and doing a whole loop from the house back here and back is 2.5 kilometers, which is just the sort of exercise she needs, being a young golden retriever. So it obviously is something that she enjoys a lot. And there are times when we come up here when it can be quite late in the evening and the sun is starting to set, you will see just an absolute abundance of echidnas up here, because we have loads of them. But also off the back of our block in the national park, wild population of platypus. So we are very lucky to live in a place with such incredibly diverse and unique wildlife. So let's jump back on the quad and we will head up through the wooded area on our block, which covers a large portion of it, and finish off this awesome property tour. Let's go.
Night shift cutie at the truck stop knows my name. Through the candle in the midnight oil lit up the honky-tonk highway. I see the sun come up, cause I ain't been to bed. Gonna have my name cut into a stone when I lay my head. No rest for the wicked, at least for a few hundred miles. I'm running wild, ride the lightning, run on empty in the ring of fire. Rolling like the Mississippi, oh mama tried. Down to my bones, don't know where I'm gonna go, oh sweet child. I'm running wild, I'm running wild. Always been a runner, never been one settling down. Spend my life in the backwoods.
I actually wouldn't have been able to get into the wooded area at all, both on foot or on vehicles, if it hadn't been for me clearing this path through into the woods. And this path of dense overgrown bush is easily 10, maybe even 15 meters long, which means that there is a 15-meter thick boundary around the wooded area, meaning I can only get in and out from the 2 points that I have shown you. And if that is any sort of testament to how much work is still left to do here, I think this is going to be one of those big projects that is going to require an absolute mammoth amount of manpower. So that almost completes the tour. So let's jump back on the quad and we'll head back for the last bit.
Devil, rolling down the road, riding on the storm, living like I'm dying slow. Headlights in the fast lane is my home away from home. If there's light after this tunnel, I'm gonna be the first to know. No slowing down, no looking back, no staying for a while. I'm pedal down and right on track. I'm ready for this ride, I'm running wild. Ride the lightning, run on empty, the ring of fire. Rolling like the Mississippi, oh mama tried. And I got bad down to my bones, don't know where I'm gonna go, oh sweet child. I'm running wild. I'm running wild. Yeah, I'm running wild.
Well, we finished the property tour here with my beautiful, very, very cute, fluffy Highland cows. There's Vera, there's Hamish, that's Scarlet, and little Dougal behind me. Hamish over here, he's a bit of a rascal, loves getting out. In fact, he's escaped a fair few times, and let's just say he's a boy after my own heart. He's a bit of a silly goose, but you know what? I love them all. And they are an absolute dream as livestock pets because they're very friendly, but they are also very hungry. So whenever I go in the paddock, they do follow me around like a bad smell. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed watching all the shenanigans that we get up to here and all the projects and everything that we undertake as new parents and also as new homesteaders. So I'd really love it if you want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we get up to and all of our grand plans with not only these adorable faces behind me, but the entire property as a whole. Then hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment and let us know what you liked about the property, or if there's anything you feel like you want to see in more detail, because I'd be more than happy to make it part of another video and show you some other areas of the property. So I look forward to hearing from you all in the comments and letting us know what you think, and I really try to reply to everyone. So we do love hearing from you, and that support really means a lot to us. So thanks so much for watching. We love making this content for you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. See you around.
On the road, I've been away for far too long, but now I'm on my way back home. I hear the west winds calling out my name. They're telling me to head your way, down your road and past your gate.